We really are grateful for everyone who comes to our show, participates in it. And so let me just start this morning by thanking each and every one who's traveled, who's come, who's invested. And I hope that this show has been good for each of you and good for your business and effective for what you're trying to achieve. This morning, we have a great Breakfast and Learn session. And first up is Aaron Taylor, Alliance Executive with Viaero Fiber. Aaron will provide background on how Viaero Fiber Networks is shaping the future of digital infrastructure, their vision, achievements, and success-based partnering opportunities. And Aaron, with that, come on up.
All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Is everybody enjoying the show? Yeah, good show? Well, I tell you what, let's just dive in and get started here. So, as you can see, that's me. Okay, Viaero Fiber. So, first of all, let's bounce to this slide here. This is probably the most important slide to our company and to organizations that want to, connect with this, connecting rural and the digital divide, so to speak. But as you can see, we've got a pretty expansive network across Nebraska, into northern Kansas, and in Colorado. And it's a unique path if you look at the southern route, the northern route. And one thing that you don't see on the slide is our 2025 and 2026 plans, which will in essence have a ring around Nebraska, allowing folks from the north to pop in, to get to Lunavi, to get to 910, as well as Omaha. And then we do have future plans to get into Kansas City. So what I used to call the trifecta with Cheyenne, Lunavi, 910 in Denver, and 1623 Farnham will be now the quadrifecta, so to speak, in 1102 Grand. So a lot of opportunities for a lot of companies, connecting a lot of WISPs, a lot of large hyperscalers, as well as all the other folks carrying transit across the Midwest there, so to speak, or I should say, east of or west of the Mississippi. The digital evolution demands strong connectivity, true. I mean, as we have seen with COVID, the demand for, passing zeros and ones has never been greater, with folks working from home to, sending what I call watermelons through straws. So as we expand the pipes, we can push more, zeros and ones and information through the network. So, with that, our primary goal is to be the most reliable network operator within the region. And we're born from a tower company needing backhaul, cellular backhaul, to make sure that, latency's, not an issue, to ensure that buffering's not an issue, so that, folks can get the information that they need when they need it, where they need it. So it's very important to us to be reliable. So we have a vested interest in keeping that network alive, just due to the cell activity that we support from over, I would say, 1,000 towers within that region. So again, with what we do, our focus is the cellular backhaul, long haul, connecting the middle mile to the last mile. So with that, we strive to ensure that all of our products and services remain robust. So we're constantly looking and analyzing the network, the gear that supports that. Work with a wide array of vendors so that we can ensure that the information that's being passed is indeed reliable and robust. And collaboration, one of the key things that we like to do is collaborate with our partners. So there's no question too big or too small. So if somebody says, hey, we're here in this area and we need to get to the backbone, say 1623, 910, or Lunavi, we work with that organization to see how that would work with them within their network, tied to our network. So whether it might be dark, whether it's lit, we know CapEx, OpEx, costs are a challenge to, build and help support the rural and the digital divide. So we work with organizations to, figure out, hey, is this more of an MRC play or an NRC play? So we look at and we work and we analyze with our partners what works best for them. And then obviously, it's got to work for us too. So, but we're very collaborative in that environment of determining, what folks need and how they need it when they need it. So, the services that we offer dark fiber, lit fiber, variety of wavelength services, obviously the cell site backhaul, network monitoring. We've got a fairly robust network operations center in Grand Island. Fort Morgan is where we're headquartered. So, we are constantly looking at and analyzing all the metrics across the network to see, what we need to do, where we need to improve, and talking to the folks that we're supporting to see how we can work with them to best serve them. So NNIs, obviously, if it's in the field or at a data center, we work with organizations to say, okay, do you need lit today and dark tomorrow? And some folks have a variety of services where they'll need lit and they need dark. So we work to see, okay, what is your, future plans? What are our future plans? And then how do we tie those together? So the biggest focus that we do, obviously, is the collaborative effort and getting folks connected to the backbone of the internet, and making sure that it's obviously reliable, robust, and ready as well. So we have, based on those efforts, obviously with the map before, a very expansive, interesting and intriguing network. So a lot of folks like that. And then obviously, hey, since you're here, can we get to there? And what's that cost to build? And, so we're constantly analyzing and looking at all the possibilities to help our customers out. So we enjoy partnering with folks. That's our biggest focus, is how do we help them help us, help the communities? Because at the end of the day, it's about the customers, right? The carrier services, obviously, we have access to cutting-edge infrastructure. One thing that is unique about our network is that all the glass that we lay in the ground is all matching glass. So we don't have any mismatched glass. It's consistent throughout the network. The ILAs along the routes, they're backed up, they're redundant. So if folks say, hey, with this long haul, what kind of power options do you have? Is it redundant? So we talk to them, okay, we've got full racks, half racks, DC power, AC power. So typically a lot of folks are around that 20 amp, 30 amp range, A and B power. So the infrastructure is obviously key, and we keep that, supported all the time. I mean, we're constantly looking at it. The future-proof network that scales with your growing data needs, again, we're constantly looking and analyzing, hey, where can we improve? What do we need to look at? We're obviously attending trade shows, talking to vendors to constantly look at, hey, how can we be better to help, our partners be better? So it's very important to us. The residential services, we offer fiber to the home in some markets, but our core focus is, fiber to enterprises, typically MDUs, and obviously the dark fiber. So the residential services is a part of what we do, but it's not the core. The core, I would say, is the dark and lit from the different locations, again, in Kansas, in the future, Omaha, Nebraska, Denver, and Cheyenne. So, and with all the activity in Cheyenne, we're uniquely positioned to support folks coming through that area and that market down into Denver as well as into Omaha, and again in the future, KC. Again, collaborative approaches for a greater reach. Like I said, no question is too big or too small. Call us, ask us, say, hey, can we get, your services procured through this area? And if so, what do we need to do? So we'll sit down, we'll talk about, the ILAs, we'll talk about, the cost to trench, the cost to, drop the fiber in. So basically, the joke is when we create a proposal, we kind of create this, it's like selling a house, because people need to know what they're buying, and it is a big deal for them with the investment that they make to know what it is that they're, signing on for either, 24 months, 36 months, 60 months, 15 years, 20 years. So it's a big investment. We take pride in that, supporting that investment. And knock on wood, we haven't had any major outages. I mean, there's always a problem here or there with somebody cutting fiber, but we have our own locate and fiber service vendors out in the field where we manage, operate, the network from end to end, design services. So we support and build our entire network from end to end. So every now and then, obviously we have to outsource a trench here or a trench there to connect, the fiber miles. And right now we're over 3,000 fiber miles in the ground. We probably drop, I would say, anywhere between 500 to maybe 700 fiber miles in a year. So our growth is, and now with everything with the hyperscalers and power being an issue, we're constantly, looking and analyzing how do we get the power, how do we support this partner here, how do we support that partner there. But I would say we're probably dropping about 500 to 700 fiber miles in the ground every year now. So we're growing. Partly because our partners are demanding that growth too. And our customers that are on our network are demanding that growth as well. So we have to do what we need to do because we do have that vested interest to support everybody. There's that slide right there, 3,000 fiber miles. Our core footprint is in Nebraska. We serve the Front Range of Colorado, northern Kansas, and now into Wyoming. So with that outreach, a lot of opportunity exists for a lot of the WISPs that are in serving the rural markets to connect our network, as well as the nationwide networks taking folks from the East Coast to the West Coast. So we're a core component in to this region. And honestly, it's an undiscovered, and I would say it's a gem, a diamond in the rough. So a lot of folks don't really know about fiber, and that's our job here, just to promote Viaero Fiber with what we have. So let me get a drink of water here. Oh, it's getting a little dry. All of our fiber is, let me go back to that slide. As you can see, all of our fiber is that ultra low loss fiber. Like I said, it's matching glass, it's armored, and it's tonable. So we really take pride in the fiber that we drop and how we drop it. We meet and exceed standards. When we trench the fiber, all of our fiber is underground. We don't have any aerial fiber. So again, making sure that our fiber is protected is key to us and to our partners. So with that, feel free to connect with us at our booth at 101. But right now, I'll open it up to any questions and answers. I don't know who has the mic and who's running around. You got it? Any questions?
Your company's in a lot of rural markets. What is your biggest challenge in dealing with rural markets and going county to county, et cetera?
What's our biggest challenge in rural markets? It's probably, obviously we've got to go through the engineering and the permitting phases of, getting fiber in these rural markets. What we find are a lot of the rural markets are actually easy to work with because they know that they need it. So it's probably the biggest challenge that we have is just time and cost to get that fiber to those markets. Other than that, we see a lot of success and a lot of opportunity. So the education, folks know what they need. Everybody's asking for high speed. So the biggest challenge is just really time and cost. So, and then, making sure that our partners that want us. So every deal that we kind of initially do is driven by a business case. So, either to a tower or to a data center. And that's what's nice is our customers drive us to those markets. So the biggest challenge is honestly probably time.
Aaron, yesterday in one of our panels, Zayo talked about reallocating or reemphasizing middle mile in the BEAD program, and that as we hear from different broadband offices around the country, there's a sense that there may be a good bit of surplus in BEAD funding And should it be reallocated to middle mile networks like you're building is my question. And is that, did y'all go after any of the NTIA middle mile or any of those other?
Yeah, we have received some grants to help, drive our fiber or connect our fiber from towers to markets, and we do fiber to the home. But that's a good question. We have not received, as far as I know, any BEAD money. Is that true? Yeah, so we have not participated in BEAD to this point. Not saying that we won't in the future. I mean, we've got to look at it, but for other organizations, they really need those funds to connect and bridge those divides. But we're in a pretty fortunate position where we haven't had to access that to, further the development of our network. But it is important for, I believe, a lot of providers out there to have access to that so that they can deliver, reliable internet to rural communities.
Hey, good morning, Aaron.
Hey, good morning, Matt.
I live in a rural area that's benefited from the rural broadband subsidies from a fiber to the home carrier.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, have you seen some of that demand in your market area based on, just rural broadband investment, fiber to the home projects? As a result of a lot of the federal subsidies that have come through, or maybe just organic market demand? And if so, how do you see it trending?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, Matt. And Matt is a Woodland Park, Colorado native, so a resident. But with our partners that we talk to, they absolutely need that funding. And, working with those folks and talking to them, because once they go into a market where they're trying to connect fiber to the home, they call us within these different regions to say, hey, we need access to the backbone. We need to get to, a carrier facility so they can stream their Hulu. So with that, it's a key component. Otherwise, some of those markets would not be developed. But then again, trying to find that long haul provider back to the backbone, can be challenging because sometimes, the backbone's not there. So they've got to build the backbone to get to the backbone. Without that funding, a lot of the connectivity in rural areas just wouldn't exist. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, well, if there are no more, you can find us at booth 101. Obviously, our executive team with this slide that's up here is here. Ron Christensen, the president, is sitting back there. Tom Dowding, who's here. Craig, who's right there. And then me, of course, if there are any other questions. We love sharing our KMZ. That's the key to, I think, our success is being able to get out there, talk to organizations, whether it's a WISP, whether it's a tower owner, or whether it's, anybody in between. That map that we have and that we love to share is really a key component to everybody's success. So please feel free to stop by our booth, ping me, ping any one of us, and we'll share our KMZ. That's the most important thing that I would say right now from this little speak, because all you guys know about fiber and the importance of it, but you really might not know how expansive our network is within Nebraska, Kansas, northern Kansas, Colorado, and going into Wyoming. So feel free to reach out to us for sure. All right, thank you.